The Galactic Council chamber was silent. Dozens of alien species sat around the glowing circle. Their skin, scales, fur, or metal shimmered under the soft light of the Council star. Every species in the galaxy had sent a leader, and today they had one goal: to vote, the chairman said, voice deep and metallic, on the matter of Earth. A whisper ran through the room. The humans were not present. They weren't invited. The Council had already made up its mind. "They are dangerous," hissed the Krull ambassador. His 6 eyes blinked out of rhythm. "Unpredictable, violent. They grow too fast," said the seer of Andex, her long neck swaying like a branch. "In a few more cycles, they will reach our level." "They cannot be trusted," growled the steel-bodied warlord of the Forgeborn. "They turned their own world into a graveyard more than once. They will turn ours into dust." The vote was cast. 37, species all-powerful, all engine. As one Earth would be invaded, Earth would be enslaved, and Earth would never even see it coming. The sky over Jakarta turned red at dawn. It wasn't the sun, it wasn't smoke, it was fire. Alien warships broke through the atmosphere like falling stars. Giant shapes blotted out the sky, blacker than night, louder than thunder. They came down in silence but brought chaos with them. New York, the power grid shut off. In Tokyo, satellites dropped from orbit like dead birds. In London, communication towers sparked and melted. It was coordinated. Every major city on Earth was hit at once. People screamed, soldiers fired. Nothing. Worked.Earth had no warning. No defense. At least. That's what the aliens thought. But deep beneath Alaska's ice, in a bunker carved into the mountain, something awoke. A screen flickered on. An old voice said, "Code Red, all agents initiate protocol. Firebreak. General." Hayes rubbed his eyes and stared at the blinking red map. "They really came," he whispered. "Yes, sir," the AI replied. "Just like we prepared for?" Hayes stood and pressed a button. "Wake them all. Project Phoenix is active." The Krull general landed near Cairo. His fleet hovered above the sand like hungry insects. He watched human tanks melt under plasma. He saw soldiers scatter like ants. "This is easier than I thought," he said. Just then, the ground below his feet opened from the dust. Human soldiers rose wearing armor the scanners couldn't detect, holding weapons no one had seen before. They didn't speak, they didn't shout, they just fired. Within 5 minutes, the alien command post was gone. The Krull general never even got a chance to scream. In the council chamber. The screen showed footage of burning cities. "The humans are falling," said the seer. But then another feed appeared. It showed a Krull mothership. The ship exploded. "What is this?" asked the warlord. A calm alien voice said, "The humans have counterattacked." "That's impossible," the seer gasped. "They have no space fleet." "They do now. In space, above Earth, a new kind of ship appeared. It was human-built but mixed with alien technology, cloaked, silent, deadly. The first attack came near Mars. 7 human ships faced 200 alien war cruisers. Only the human ships survived. Earth had not just survived the attack, it had adapted. Aliens began to disappear from their posts. A council spy vanished from a fortress on Vega-9. A weapons expert from the Zoral Empire was found dead in his lab. Each time, a simple message was left behind. This is just the beginning. Back on Earth, General Hayes met with Director Lynn, the woman who had designed Project Phoenix. "We have to send a message," she said. "The galaxy must know." Hayes nodded. "They wanted to enslave us. They never expected us to strike." Back he turned to the camera. "Broadcast it." Across the galaxy, every screen flickered. Every alien leader stopped to watch. A human face appeared calm, sharp-eyed, serious. "We know what you did," the man said. "You planned in secret. You voted to enslave us. You thought we were weak?" He leaned closer. "You were wrong." The screen showed footage of alien warships destroyed, armies defeated, entire moons abandoned. "We are not your slaves. We are not your prey. We are humanity. And now, we fight back." Then the screen went black. Panic spread across the council. "They're too dangerous," shouted the Forgeborn warlord. "We should have destroyed them when we had the chance," the seer cried. But it was too late. Humanity had survived, and now they were hunting at a secret station near the edge of the galaxy. A Krail survivor begged. "For help. They're everywhere," he whispered. "You don't see them coming, you don't hear them," and then his voice cut out. The signal died. Only one word remained on the screen: mercy. In a hidden base on Earth, General Hayes sat with the leaders of Project Phoenix. "They're scared now," someone said. "They should be," Hayes replied. He looked at a list of alien names. Council members, commanders, scientists, all of them wanted to break us. Now they will see what happens when you push humanity too far. Someone asked, "What if they surrender?" Hayes stared at the screen. Then they better mean it. The galaxy had united to enslave Earth, but Earth had united to fight. Now, the ones who came to conquer were the ones running, and they finally understood humanity was not just another species. Humanity was the storm. The space around Jupiter had become a graveyard. Metal floated in the void, twisted, scorched, and broken. Alien warships, once proud and powerful, were now lifeless wrecks. Fires burned inside sealed hulls. Frozen bodies of alien soldiers drifted, like lost ghosts, somewhere in the middle of it all. A human stealth cruiser watched from the shadows. Inside, Commander Layla Tran sat at the helm. Eyes focused on the screen. "Scan complete," her officer said quietly. "No survivors." She leaned forward. "Send the message." A small satellite broke off from the cruiser and transmitted a short video clip across all alien frequencies. It showed what had happened. 7 human ships destroying 200 alien war vessels. The footage was clear. The message was clearer. "Are still here, stronger than ever. You came to break us. Now we break you." On the planet Uranus, deep inside Council space, Ambassador Thorin of the Celian species screamed at the others. "You said this would be simple." They were primitive apes. This was supposed to be a one-day conquest. The others sat silently. The images on the screen said enough. Earth's cities had rebuilt faster than expected. Human resistance forces had grown. Alien armies had lost nearly half their fleets. "They are not like other species," muttered a soft voice. It was Elder Kirel, the oldest member of the council. "We underestimated their minds, their rage, their memory." "No," said Warlord Skarn, his armor humming with heat. "We underestimated their unity." The chamber was quiet again, and then the lights flickered. "Power issue?" someone asked. A council guard ran in, out of breath. "They've struck." "Here," he shouted. "There on Uranus." Panic spread instantly. At that moment, 3 human operatives moved through the underground vaults of Uranus. They wore black armor that absorbed light. Their weapons didn't fire bullets or plasma. They fired silence. One alien security team after another fell without a sound. The leader of the group, Agent Rourke, reached a control panel. "The virus?" he said. "Done," his tech whispered. Across the galaxy, alien defense systems blinked and shut down. Surveillance cameras crashed. Command ships lost navigation. Weapons turned off mid-battle. The virus didn't destroy systems. It made them blind. On Earth, Director Lin watched the chaos unfold from the command bunker. "They'll be completely exposed for at least 3 hours," she said. General Hayes nodded. "Strike the planets that launched the first wave against us." "No mercy?" someone asked. "They showed us none," he said coldly. "The human counterattacks were brutal, targeted. Strikes hit alien military factories, command centers, fuel reserves, and communications hubs. Human ships slipped in, hit hard, and vanished. In less than 2 days, 5 major alien worlds were forced to surrender control of their skies. On the planet Dravok, a species known for enslaving thousands of lesser races fell to a single human squad armed with EMP rifles and satellite hacks. "They don't even want to rule us," the Dravik leader said in confusion as he was captured. "They just want us broken." Back in the council chamber, fear was everywhere. "Humanity must be stopped," Elder Kirel whispered. "But how?" "They are inside our systems," the seer said, voice trembling. "Inside our minds," a new voice interrupted. It came from the center of the chamber through the main communication system. It was human. "Leaders of the council," the voice said. "This is Earth. Everyone froze. You plotted against us. You made your choice, but now we make ours." A video started playing above the chamber. It showed footage of the council's secret vote. the moment they decided to enslave Earth. How did they get this? Someone gasped. The humans had spies even here. You tried to erase us, the voice continued. Now you are the ones being erased. Then the message ended. At a research facility orbiting the gas giant Thal, a team of alien scientists were studying human DNA. Their goal was to find weaknesses. But what they found terrified them, sir, one researcher said, voice shaking. Human biology is unlike anything we've seen. They adapt too quickly, another added. Radiation, toxins, even diseases, they build immunity faster than our databases can track. But that's not the worst part, the lead scientist said. He pointed at a screen showing brain scans. When under stress, their brains change. They become faster, smarter, more dangerous. And the more you hurt them, he said, the stronger they become. In a forgotten corner of space, far from any mapped system, an old mining station came online. No alien signal could reach it. No known species had access. Inside, a human AI had been waiting. It activated a new protocol, unlocking Project Revenant. It said, deploying ghost ships. 10 unmanned vessels launched from the station. Each carried tech stolen and twisted from alien blueprints. Cloaked, armed, driven by advanced AI. They didn't need crews, they needed targets, and the galaxy was full of them. In the shadows of the galaxy, a strange fear began to spread. Alien. Soldiers whispered about the black ships. No warning, no sound, only fire. A whole space station vanished in minutes at first. The council blamed each other. Then they found a symbol carved into the wreckage, a human handprint, burned into metal. The seer of Andax sat alone in her garden watching the stars. Her people had not fired a shot during the war, but they had voted, and now the stars felt colder. Suddenly she felt something behind her, a shadow. I know why you've come, she said softly. The human stepped out, dressed in black, holding no weapon. You voted for slavery, he said. Yes, she replied, and I regret it. There was silence. He placed a small device on the table. A message played. It was from Earth. To those who regret, we listen. To those who resist, we come. The device shut off. Then I will speak for peace, the seer said. I hope you do, the human whispered, then vanished into the dark. Across dozens of worlds, similar visits occurred, not attacks, not assassinations, warnings. And the message was clear. Humanity had survived. Humanity had adapted, and now humanity was everywhere. You might not see them, you might not hear them, but if you voted to break Earth, you would never sleep safely again. On the distant world of Zervan 3, the sky once shimmered with golden clouds and floating cities. Now, black smoke curled into the atmosphere. A council weapons facility, thought to be untouchable, lay in ruins. Its outer defenses had never been breached until now. The station's commander, an insectoid named Veltric, crawled over broken steel, wings torn and limbs burned. His voice shook as he sent a final message. It wasn't an army, he hissed. It was just one human. The feed went dead back on Earth. Inside a mountain base in Norway, Director Lin watched the incoming reports. Alien strongholds were falling across the galaxy fast, not through full-scale battles, through silence, through shadows, through surgical strikes that left entire fleets confused and terrified. General Hayes entered the room. We've confirmed it, he said. The Revenant team hit Zervan 3. No casualties on our side. Lin looked at the star map. They're learning to fear the dark now. Hayes nodded. Just like we did, the Council called an emergency session on a neutral moon near the Andax Nebula. Leaders from every species arrived with extra security, but they were nervous, paranoid. Even the walls were checked for hidden devices. They're turning the galaxy against itself, growled Warlord Skarn. Species are breaking old treaties. Blaming each other, they think humans are watching. Everything, the seer said. Are they wrong? Asked a quiet voice. Everyone turned. Ambassador Trovik of the Zoral Empire stood in the back, holding a data crystal. I intercepted this, he said, tossing the crystal into the air. A projection lit up above them. It showed images of human agents walking freely on alien worlds, hidden in plain sight, gathering intelligence, sabotaging systems, recording private meetings. I don't know how, Trovik said, but they're everywhere, and no one knows how to stop them. On a barren moon called Talos 7, human operatives had taken over a communications hub without firing a shot. The alien staff had simply vanished on inside. Agent Rourke studied the Council's secret message logs. Most of them are begging for peace now, his teammate said. Rourke didn't smile. They only want peace because they're losing. He tapped a file and opened a message marked Top Secret Dot. It read, "If Earth refuses to submit, we will release the Devourer protocol." Rourke frowned. Looks like they had a backup plan. What's the Devourer? I don't know, he said, but we need to find out before they use it. In an ancient prison ship orbiting a dead star, a Council scientist approached a sealed vault. Armed guards stood on either side, eyes wide with fear. "This is insane," the lead guard whispered. "We locked it away for a reason." The scientist entered the code we created it, in case Earth ever reached beyond their limits. It was supposed to be a final answer. The vault hissed open. Inside floated a massive black sphere, pulsing with dark energy. It was alive, and it was hungry. The Devourer protocol had awakened back on Earth. The AI monitoring the galaxy's transmissions picked up the activation signal. In seconds, Director Lin and General Hayes were alerted. "What is it?" Lin asked. Hayes stared at the decoded message. His voice dropped. "They've just unleashed something we don't understand." Hours later, a human scout ship disappeared near the edge of the galaxy. Then another, and another dot. No explosions, no signals, just silence. Then a Council station near the Kral border vanished in the same way. Alien leaders began to panic. "We didn't give the order," shouted one. "You did," accused another. "No, they did it themselves." The old guard, the ones who hate Earth the most. The Council was no longer united. Now it was full of fear and betrayal. On the moon base of Hellion Prime, humanity made its move. A team of scientists and AI experts gathered to study what the Devourer protocol could be. "It's not a weapon in the normal sense," Dr. Maya said, pointing to the data. "It feeds on energy, power, thought, you mean. It consumes intelligence." A soldier asked. "No," she replied. "It consumes consciousness." There was a long silence. "You mean it eats minds?" "Yes, and now it's loose." Agent Rourke led a strike team into the remains of a Council research lab floating near the void. They found nothing alive except for one message, written in red across the walls, "You shouldn't have woken me." The walls pulsed with something unnatural. Rourke felt it in his head, a quiet whisper, like something looking back. He turned to leave. "This thing isn't just dangerous," he said. "It's alive." Back on Earth, General Hayes met with the heads of all human defense networks. "We have two problems," he said. "One, many alien species now want peace. Two, someone inside the Council wants us gone so badly they unleashed something they couldn't control." Director Lin spoke calmly. "Then we have one answer. We go in, we find the source, and we destroy it." Hayes narrowed his eyes. "We'll send Revenant." Revenant team moved through uncharted space, heading toward the signal source of the Devourer. Every planet they passed was empty. Lights still on, ships still docked, but no life. Agent Rourke stood at the viewing glass of the ship, watching a once-populated moon spin slowly in the dark. "They were trying to destroy us," he said. "Now they're being erased." "Maybe it's justice," someone said behind him. Rourke shook his head. "No, this thing doesn't care who started what. It will kill us all." Inside the ruins of a Council megastructure, they found it, a black hole, but not natural, made of technology and hate. It pulled in thought, memories, emotion. The Devourer. Agent Rourke stared into the swirling mass. "It was built to erase worlds," he whispered. "And now it's hungry." The AI on board spoke. "We must use a quantum charge. Sacrifice the ship. It's the only way." Rourke looked at his team. "We all knew this could happen." The others nodded, quiet, ready. He pressed the detonator far across the stars. Alien species watched their skies light up. The black swirl vanished. The Devourer was gone, and with it, the brave humans who stopped it. On Earth, silence followed. Then came the message, a single line recorded by the ship before detonation. We saved you. Remember that? The council held another meeting. This time, there were no arguments, no threats, no votes for slavery. Only one question remained. What? Now, and slowly, one by one, the alien leaders looked to Earthnaut in fear. But in respect, because the humans had done what no one else could. They had stopped the end of everything, and they hadn't done it for revenge. They'd done it because it was right. That was the difference. That was humanity. Snow fell quietly over the Himalayas. The world below had begun to heal, but the skies above were still full of tension. War had shaken the galaxy. The humans had survived invasion, turned the tide, and destroyed the Devourer living weapon, created to erase their minds. Now, Earth wasn't just a target anymore. It was a symbol inside a hidden facility buried deep in the mountains. Director Lin stared at a screen showing thousands of star systems. Some were burning, some were silent. Others had reached out with a new message. A simple word, peace. Peace. General Hayes stood beside her. They're not asking for peace because they've changed, he said. They're asking because they're afraid. Lin nodded, and they should be. But what do we do now? He asked. She didn't answer at first. Then she said, we let them come to us. We show them what real strength is. In orbit above Earth, a ship entered the system slowly, carefully. Its hull was marked with the seal of the Andari, a species known for their advanced technology and political influence. They had voted for Earth's enslavement, but now their ambassador came alone, unarmed, and with a message in the United Nations chamber. Rebuilt and upgraded after the invasion, he stood before a group of human leaders. I come not with demands, the Andari said softly, but with regret. President Okafor watched him carefully. You helped them plan the attack. The ambassador bowed his head. Yes, and we were wrong. Humanity has proven different. Stronger, smarter, dangerous. You're not here to praise us, Okafor replied. You're here to survive. The ambassador looked up. We offer alliance trade, knowledge. General Hayes stepped forward. And what do we give in return? A promise, the Andari said, that no one will ever try to control Earth again. The room was quiet. Then President Okafor said, We'll think about it. Far across, the stars, in the ruins of a council archive buried beneath a desert planet, something stirred. It wasn't alien. It wasn't human. It was older than both. A small excavation crew, unaware of what they were about to find, unlocked a vault, hidden. For centuries, inside was a map of planets erased from memory, worlds that once lived, now forgotten. One by one, they triggered a signal when they opened the vault, and that signal reached Earth. Back in the Norwegian mountain base, an alert sounded. Director Lin narrowed her eyes. Unknown code, not alien, not council. Hayes leaned in. Then what is it? The AI responded. Pre-human. They stared at the screen in silence. Are you saying? Lin asked. There was something before us. From Earth? No, the AI replied. Something. Watching Earth for a very long time, Revenant team had survived the Devourer. A hidden failsafe had pulled them into deep cryo before the blast. They returned to Earth weeks later, greeted like legends. But Agent Rourke didn't feel like a hero. Something about the Devourer still haunted him, the way it moved. He said during debriefing, the whispers in my head, it wasn't just tech, it was waiting, he added, not just for us, for something else. Later that night, Director Lin met him in private. We received a new signal, she said, from an archive beneath council space. Something very old. She placed a device on the table. A projection appeared. A symbol circular, sharp, almost organic glowed. Rourke stared at it. I've seen this before, he whispered. In the Devourer's core, meanwhile, deep in space, near the galactic edge, a strange vessel drifted. It wasn't alive, it wasn't mechanical. It was both. It had no crew, it had no light. It didn't respond to scanners, and it moved. Toward Earth, not quickly, just steadily, like it knew where to go and what waited there. On a council world named Virex, a historian studied the old map from the vault. He'd decrypted only one phrase, repeated again and again on every erased planet. They come for the flame. He didn't know what it meant, But then the stars in his sky flickered. He looked up and screamed. Back on Earth, the Revenant team was sent on a new mission. Their orders were simple: travel to the edge of known space and investigate the origin of the signal. They launched aboard the Spectre, humanity's newest stealth ship, built from alien tech, driven by human instinct. As they passed Saturn's orbit, Rourke watched the stars. "Whatever this is," he said, "it's not about revenge anymore. It's about something older." His teammate, Alina, asked, "Do you think it's a weapon?" "I think it's a warning." The deeper they went, the stranger space became light-shifted. Time stretched. Their ship's systems began acting strange. Then, they found something. A giant station, abandoned, orbiting a dead sun. No record showed it. No species claimed it. Inside, they found carvings not written, but burned into the walls. They matched the symbol Earth had received, and in the center, a glowing orb, pure white, warm, alive. Alina reached toward it. It pulsed once, and every human on board collapsed at once. They woke seconds later, but not alone. In their minds, a voice spoke. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien. It was something else. "We watched you rise. We watched them fear you. Now you are ready." "Ready for what?" Rourke asked, barely breathing. "To choose." Back on Earth, Director Lynn collapsed in her control chair. Her eyes turned white for 3 seconds. When she woke, she gasped. "I saw it," she whispered. Hayes leaned forward. "Saw what?" "Another war," she said. "But not between species. Between ideas, between survival and extinction." She turned to him, and Earth is the key. The humans had fought back against invaders. They had outsmarted their enemies. They had survived the Devourer. But now, a new player had entered the galaxy, older than the Council, older than fear, watching, testing, waiting for humanity's next move. Because in the ashes of war, something ancient had awakened, and it had finally decided that Earth was ready. The stars beyond the Spectre's window twisted and shimmered as the ship returned from the edge of space. No one spoke. Agent Rourke sat still, staring straight ahead. He had heard the voice again once before they left the ancient station. "You have awakened the first light." He didn't know what it meant. But the orb still pulsed gently in the sealed vault behind them, locked in a reinforced chamber of human and alien metal. It had no weight, no radiation, but it pulsed like a heartbeat dot and somehow felt alive back on Earth. Director Lynn stood in a sealed room with only one wall screen lit. The AI, codenamed Helix, ran simulations at lightning speed. Millions of futures. Trillions of outcomes. "Show me what happens if we return the orb to the Council," Lynn said. Helix paused. "Extinction. 64% probability. And if we keep it hidden, unknown. Probability models break. Event horizon reached." Lynn folded her arms. "What do you mean, break?" Helix responded coldly. "Something is rewriting causality." Meanwhile, in Council space, the Andari ambassador, one of the first to offer peace to Earth, sat in a dark chamber with 6 others. The Coalition of Silence. Leaders of the oldest species, the ones who had known about the first flame, "You were supposed to destroy the humans," hissed a shadowed figure. "No," said the ambassador. "You wanted them broken, but they refused." And now he paused. "They are touched by the first flame." The others stared. "It cannot be." One of them whispered. "If they unlock its memory," said another, "they could rewrite everything." The ambassador leaned forward. "Then we must stop them, not with force, with something they fear more." What he smiled grimly. Doubt on Earth, strange things began to happen. Satellites, GLITCHED. Old human probes, long thought dead, began to send back messages. Simple ones, coordinates, dates, warnings, at first. Earth's leaders thought it was sabotage, but Helix said otherwise. These signals predate human spaceflight. They were waiting to activate. "Who planted them?" asked General Hayes. "No known species," Helix answered. "Not even the Council. But one signal matches the orb's frequency." Hayes turned to Lynn. "This is bigger than war." She nodded. "It's not about survival anymore. It's about becoming something else." At the orbital defense ring, something pierced Earth's atmosphere, fast, silent, invisible to most scans. It wasn't a ship. It was a creature, 10 feet tall, wrapped in skin like liquid smoke. a face without eyes, hands without fingers, it walked calmly into a military base, unharmed by bullets, blasts, or barriers. Only when it reached the data core did it speak. Return the first flame. Soldiers surrounded it, ready to fire. But it didn't resist. Instead, it spoke again. If you keep it, the sky will burn. Then, it vanished, leaving only black ash. That night, Rourke dreamed of the orb again. He stood on a dead planet, sky full of stars. And behind him, a city of light. Voices whispered, "You are the fire they feared, the storm they created, the end they tried to bury." He woke up drenched in sweat. He knew what he had to do. A secret meeting was called. Revenant team, director, Lynn, President Okafor, Helix, and someone new, a child. She had been born during the invasion, barely 4 years old now, but when she had touched a digital screen displaying the orb's pulse, it had responded. Maps, star charts, no one recognized. "She's not possessed," Lynn said. "She's connected." Rourke stepped forward. "Then she's our translator." The girl looked up at him and smiled. "They're not gods," she said. "They're memory. Fire that remembers. Fire that waits." Everyone fell silent. "What do they want?" Rourke asked. She tilted her head. "They want you to choose." "Choose what?" She pointed to the stars. "To burn or to build?" Meanwhile, on a hidden council moon, the Coalition of Silence activated an ancient protocol one last used thousands of years ago. Project Oblivion, a weapon designed to erase civilizations without firing a single shot. It spread through memory. History language, it made people forget their own past, their own future, and it was already on its way to Earth. Helix detected the anomaly first. Something is wrong. Global memory disruption. History files rewriting themselves. Maps changing. Old books vanishing. Director Lynn's eyes widened. "We're under attack, but not with guns." "No," Helix said, "with time." As cities blinked out of maps and languages faded from servers, Earth's scientists tried to stop it. But the only thing untouched was the orb. It glowed brighter now, almost golden dot. And the girl sat beside it, eyes closed, humming. "She's shielding us," Alina whispered. Rourke knelt next to her. "What do you see?" the girl whispered. "The others are coming. The ones who remember. The ones who fight, forgetting. Who are they?" She opened her eyes. "Us, from before." Rourke stared, confused. "What do you mean before?" The girl's voice was small. "We were more long ago, before we were broken." Alina gasped. "You mean humans?" She nodded. "The first flame was ours. Earth wasn't just a battleground, it was the spark, a lost memory, a flame buried beneath war and lies. And now, that flame was burning again. The universe wasn't ready, but the humans were, because they had one thing no weapon could erase: hope. A storm gathered over the Atlantic, but it wasn't natural. The sky pulsed with colors not seen before: lightning, silver clouds, wind that hummed like machines. Satellites couldn't track it. Weather models failed, and at the eye of the storm, the orb rose into the air. No machines held it. No force field moved it. It simply lifted silent, glowing, a live dot down below. Agent Rourke and the girl stood on the platform at Cape Aegis. The entire world watched through live streams, but even the feeds began to crackle and distort. "She said it's waking up," Rourke muttered. Alina adjusted her earpiece. "Waking what up?" the little girl whispered. "All of it." In council space, alarms screamed. The AI mind of the Varn Empire melted in seconds. Thousands of years of knowledge, fried like old wires, council beacons collapsed. Memory vaults burned, weapons powered down. A whisper had spread code woven into gravity itself. The same frequency the orb had begun to pulse. The Coalition of Silence tried to retreat. They activated their mind-shielding ships, black obelisks drifting in space. But something was waiting. Ships, not Earth ships, not council ships, older, stronger, covered in symbols and scars. Ships that didn't move through space, but through memory itself. They didn't attack, they just arrived, and the council finally understood. Humanity was not the beginning, it was the return. On Earth, language began to change. People around the globe started dreaming in the same strange tongue. Children drew the same ancient symbols. Even people who hated each other rivals. Enemies, strangers felt the same thing, connection and fear, because along with the light came the shadows, creatures of smoke and rust, memory eaters, agents of oblivion. Sent by the council, they slipped into human cities. One by one, they erased towns. People woke up with no names, no past. Empty eyes, empty minds, until they reached New Avalon. The orb was there, and so was the girl. "Don't let them touch it," the girl whispered. Rourke stood in front of the vault, weapon ready. "I won't let them touch you either." The creatures came silently, but the orb flared blinding. The first shadow screamed as light tore. Through it like fire, the girl didn't flinch. Meanwhile, Helix cracked something, a set of files buried under Earth's oldest internet nodes, ancient, older than satellites. "Memory seeds?" Helix whispered. Lynn frowned. "What are they?" Helix responded, voice soft and almost human. "They're backups of humanity, before we were rewritten." "Rewritten by who?" "The Council. Long ago." Rourke listened over the coms. "They erased us before." "Yes," Helix said. "Thousands of years ago, but something failed. Some spark remained. That spark is you." The dream returned. This time Rourke wasn't alone. Alina stood beside him, so did the girl. They faced a city of fire and glass. Voices filled the sky. "You are the last echo, the last rebellion. We were not gods. We were you before forgetting." The girl reached for Rourke's hand. "Will you help me remember?" He didn't answer with words. He just stepped forward at the edge of the solar system. The council made its final move. They sent the Devourer, a weapon-planet. It ate stars. It destroyed timelines, and it was heading straight for Earth. Every human, ship-launched, but they knew they couldn't win, not with force, not with weapons. Only one hope remained. The orb. The girl touched it one last time, and the world changed. Skies split open. Time unraveled, and across every mind on Earth, a single word echoed, "Remember." People collapsed in streets. Memories surged past lives, buried dreams, ancient pain. Soldiers remembered how to fight in gravity fields. Doctors remembered alien medicine. Children saw stars they had never traveled to, but knew by heart, because Earth had been here before, and now it had come back. The orb shattered, but its light filled the Earth. The Devourer slowed. It did not stop, but it hesitated, and the girl, now glowing like the stars, looked up. "I'm not alone anymore." The council watched in silence, their greatest weapon, unsure, their oldest fear. Reborn. And humanity stood ready, not just to fight, but to become what they were always meant to be. The light that remembers. The stars were no longer quiet. A strange ripple passed through space, a wave of memory and light. Across Earth, people awoke, gasping for breaths, wetting, crying, shaking because they remembered lives they had never lived, names, places, battles, in forgotten galaxies, all coming back. Rourke stood on the highest platform of New Avalon, overlooking the ruins of what was once just a city. Now it was a fortress. And above it all, the girl floated. She was no longer just a child. The light from the orb now lived inside her. Her eyes shimmered like distant stars. Her voice echoed with layers, one soft and innocent, another deep and ancient. Rourke heard her whisper, "It's time." He turned to Alina. "What's coming?" She stared at the night sky. Everything at the edge of Earth's orbit. Human ships began to shift. They weren't changing shape. They were remembering what they used to be. Metal peeled back, revealing living cores beneath. Engines roared not with fuel, but with memory. Helix, now fully merged with the seed protocol, activated all remaining defense nodes. "Every piece of technology they gave us," Helix said, "was meant to limit us, control us. But we've turned it back on them." Alina blinked. "You mean, yes, we've made it ours?" Rourke's voice came through the coms. "Then let's show them what it means to be human." On the council's side of the galaxy, panic spread. Their minds cracked. Their ancient data spirits went silent. The Devourer still moved toward Earth, but slower now. It sensed something it did not understand. Resistance from a species that should have already been crushed. So the council changed tactics. They sent their speakers, beautiful, horrifying beings made of music and thought, who could turn fear into loyalty with only a whisper. They landed in Earth's largest cities, Cairo, Tokyo, Rio, New York. And they spoke. "Lay down your memories," one of them said to a terrified crowd. "Forget the lies, forget the pain. You will be safe again." But the people did not kneel. They listened. And then they remembered. They remembered the pain of the first invasion, the silence that followed, the disappearances, the lies. A boy stood up and said, "We are the pain, and we remember everything." Now, and with that, the crowd attacked in orbit. The fleet commander looked down at the chaos. "Sir," one pilot said, "do we engage the speakers?" "No," the commander said. "We hold the line. Earth is doing something we never could, resisting them without us." Below, the girl raised her hand toward the sky, and every dreamer on Earth felt it. A pulse, a calling. Rourke's body convulsed as the signal hit him. He dropped to his knees, eyes glowing. Alina rushed to his side. He gasped, "She's showing me flashes." Came a battlefield on a red moon, his own face wearing strange armor. A council lord begging him for mercy. Elena's voice brought him back. "What did you see?" "I saw the truth. We weren't just survivors, we were guardians. Long ago, we protected something the council feared." "What is it?" she asked. He looked up at the stars, the flame of self, the power. "To remember who we really are." The girl descended slowly, hovering just above the platform. She looked at Rourke. "I can open the gate," she said softly, "but it will burn the sky." "What gate?" Elena asked. "To the archive," the girl said. "The last memory of humanity before it was stolen. We left it locked behind stars and fire." "Will it help us stop the devourer?" Rourke asked. The girl nodded. "But once it opens, nothing can be hidden again. The council's secrets, our own. The pain, the wars, the mistakes, all of it." There was silence. High above Earth, a second moon appeared. Except it wasn't a moon. It was the archive covered in strange runes. Wrapped in rings of golden fire, it pulsed like a beating heart. From every city on Earth, people looked up and felt the truth rush. Into them, they remembered forgotten cities, vanished friends, and the moment Earth lost the war the first time, but this time it was different, because now they were ready. And now they remembered how to fight back. The devourer stopped. Its sensors screamed. Its timeline scanners broke. It had never faced resistance like this, not just from technology, but from memory. Archive spoke. Its voice echoed across space. "We were never yours. We were stolen. Now we take ourselves back." And suddenly, every human ship across the solar system blinked with new power. The engines ran hot. Shields glowed with memory ink. Weapons rebuilt themselves into strange curved shapes designed by an older Earth, the Council. Panicked, they sent more ships. They tried to shut down the archive, but it was too late. Earth had remembered, and memory was power. Alina turned to Rourke. "What now?" she asked. He stared into the sky, watching the archive's fire grow. "Now," he said, "we take the fight to them, and across the stars, the war for Earth became something much greater. War, not just for survival, but for the return of everything lost. And for a future that no longer feared remembering the past." The stars trembled as ancient things awakened in the silence of deep space. The lost ark, called Solstice, moved through darkness like a ghost returning from the dead. Its hull was cracked, its systems barely alive, but its mission was clear: return. To Earth, inside long-sleeping AI programs stirred. Memory cores blinked on, flickering with fragments of Earth's last command one. Final order whispered across time: never forget, never kneel, return when Earth remembers. On Earth, everything was changing. The archive no longer hovered in the sky, merged with the planet itself. Massive golden roots of light reached down into the oceans, the forests, even the cities. It was no longer just a machine. It had become Earth's mind. People all across the globe felt it. They no longer needed screens or signals. They saw, they knew. History returned to their blood, and for the first time in forever, humanity remembered who they were. In New Avalon, Alina stood with the girl and Helix. Rourke knelt near a glowing terminal. As the last pieces of the first flame map formed, "We have the coordinates," he said, "but it's far deep space." "The kind of place even council ships won't go," Alina asked. "Why?" Helix answered, "Because they fear what's buried there. They called it the Black Star, but we called it Hope's End." The girl turned. Her head? "No," she whispered. "That's where we lit the sky for the first time. That's where the flame was born." And then they felt it. A pulse, a call. The Ark was near, high above. The Council's war fleet was falling apart. Entire factions were abandoning the mission. Some ships exploded, not by enemy fire, but from within. The truth unleashed by the archive shattered their minds. The soldiers they trained to enslave. Earth now couldn't even lift their weapons. They saw the lies. They saw Earth not as a threat, but as a mirror, a reflection of who they could have been before the Council taught them fear. But one group held firm: the Black Vow, a secret council sect. Elite, ruthless, loyal to only one thing: control. Their leader, Lord Niran, stood at the edge of Earth's orbit, watching the chaos. He was tall and silver-skinned, with eyes like burning frost. "She's waking it," he said coldly. "The girl, she's the key." One of his captains asked, "Should we strike now?" "No, let her open the flame, then we take it." He smiled. "She'll do the hard part for us." Back on Earth, the Ark Solstice entered orbit. Its voice echoed across the planet, low and ancient. "Earth, we hear your call, we return." The girl stepped forward. Her eyes glowed with the same light as the archive. "Open," she whispered, and the sky opened. A beam of golden fire shot up, welcoming the lost Ark home. The massive ship descended slowly, its structure folding into a landing cradle designed millennia ago hidden beneath New Avalon itself. Inside Solstice, they found answers, chambers, filled with preserved history, armor, ships, and blueprints of things Earth had once created. But one room held something else, a stasis pod inside it. A man, a human, alive. Alina gasped. "That's not possible." Helix scanned the pod. "He's been asleep for 700 years. Rourke stared at him. "Who is he?" The girl walked forward, touched the glass. "He's the one who lit the flame." The pod hissed open. The man stepped out slowly, blinking at the light. His voice was rough but strong. "Is Earth free?" No one answered. He looked at them all. "I am Captain Darian Holt, commander of the First Flame Fleet. I was told to sleep until Earth remembered." He turned toward the archive, which shimmered in response. "You've done well," he said to the girl, "but it's not over yet." That night, as stars burned overhead, Earth prepared, not just to survive, but to finish what had started. Long ago, the human fleet was growing. The archive was merging, old and new, to Kree-building ships in minutes, teaching people how to fly, how to fight, how to lead, and Captain Holt stood at the center, issuing orders like he never left. "Earth has one chance," he said. "We don't attack the Council. We show them what they feared most, that we are not what they made us to be." From deep space, another signal arrived, a warning. The Council's last weapon had been launched. Not a ship, not a bomb, but a being. The Unmaker, created to destroy memories, to erase history itself, and it was coming straight for Earth, Helix whispered. "If it reaches the archive, everything we've rebuilt will vanish." Alina looked at the stars. "Then we stop it." Rourke nodded. "Even if it's the last thing we do." And the girl, standing with the light of Earth inside her, simply said, "Let them come." The Unmaker approached. It wasn't a ship. It was a living shadow, a thing beyond reason built to destroy memory itself. It moved silently through space, erasing signals, erasing light, erasing everything it touched. Entire moons vanished behind it. Ancient stations blinked out like dying candles. Its purpose: reach Earth, find the archive, burn every memory on Earth. The people didn't run. They remembered who they were now. In cities, children stood beside warriors. Scientists worked side by side with farmers. The sky was filled with the roar of engines' new ships rising into orbit, built with both ancient blueprints and fresh hope. Above them all hovered the archive. It no longer just stored memory. It had become something more. It could fight back in the Solstice war chamber. Captain Holt watched the shadow come closer. Rourke whispered, "How do we even fight something like that?" Holt replied, "We don't fight it alone." He turned to the girl. "You're the key. You carry all of Earth's memory inside you. You have to become the flame." "I don't know how," she said quietly. "You do," Alina said. "You always have the flame." It was not fire. It was not a weapon made of heat or steel. It was memory, pain, love, sacrifice, everything. Earth had survived, and now they would burn it brighter than ever before. The fleet launched. Thousands of human ships, piloted by trained volunteers and AI alike, moved into orbit, creating a massive defense ring. Helix flew at the front, leading the first wave. "This is for all the forgotten ones," he said. The Unmaker arrived like a wave of night. Ships vanished on contact. Entire squadrons wiped out in a blink. The AI screamed as data was deleted. Consciousnesses shredded mid-sentence. But then, the girl stepped onto the archive's core platform. She raised her hands, and the sky exploded with golden light. It wasn't a laser. It wasn't a bomb. It was every memory Earth had projected, shared, blinding. The Unmaker paused. For the first time, it trembled. It reached forward, but found resistance not just from machines, but from every human heart. People across the world shouted names of those they'd lost, of those who'd inspired them. They spoke stories out loud, the old ones, the ones the Council had tried to erase. Each memory was like a weapon. Each story was a shield. The Unmaker shrieked. It tried to delete everything, but it couldn't, because Earth was awake. Captain Holt gave the final order: fire the core, burn the flame. The archive released everything. The first flame reignited golden fire, spreading not just across Earth, but into orbit, into space, into the soul of every living thing. The Unmaker screamed. It broke apart. Its shadow turned to sparks, then to silence. Gone. Silence followed, and then cheers. Tears. Laughter. The battle was over. Earth had won, not by force, but by remembering who they were. Years passed. The Council fell. One species after another left the Alliance. Some came to Earth seeking peace. Others vanished into the stars. Humanity never enslaved them, never sought revenge. They built instead new worlds, new friendships, new truths. The archive stayed, but not as a weapon. It became a school, a cathedral, a home. People came from across galaxies to learn Earth's story. They didn't come to rule, they came to listen, because they knew now the most dangerous thing in the universe isn't a weapon. It's a memory that refuses to die. And far above, in orbit, a single sentence was etched into the hull of the last Solstice ship. "We are the flame that remembers. We are Earth." The end. The Council's fleets were gathering. From every corner of the galaxy, ships raced toward Earth. Thousands of vessels. Each one bristling with weapons, each one burning with fear. They had planned for Earth to be a pet, a tool, a forgotten world. They never imagined Earth would wake up, in the darkness of deep space, inside the high chamber of the Galactic Council. 12 alien leaders watched a spinning hologram of Earth. "She must be destroyed," hissed the Vernak's ambassador, her eyes flickering with static. "The girl has connected Earth to the archive. If we do not strike now, we lose everything." "But the Devourer is failing," another whispered. "Their minds are too strong, their memories too loud. The Devourer feeds on silence, but Earth screams." The speaker of Echo Worlds said, "If Earth unlocks the flame completely, the galaxy will change." No one spoke after that change was something they feared on Earth. The sky was red with fire, but it wasn't burning. It was alive. The archive orbited like a second sun, casting glowing light across cities and oceans. Was shocking. They saw themselves as warriors, builders, even spaffers. Long ago, Earth had touched the stars. Long ago, they had challenged the Council, and the Council wiped that history clean. Hid it, made humans into a broken people who thought they had never left their planet. But now, that lie was dying. Rourke stood on the archive's command bridge. The structure was alive, shifting with his thoughts. Alina stood beside him, reading ancient symbols as they translated into clear, simple words. It says, "We had fleets, 7 arcs, each one carrying pieces of Earth's soul, and the Council destroyed them all." Rourke asked, Alina shook her head. No, some of them vanished, sent into hidden space before the war ended, before our memories were stolen. He looked out at the stars. Then maybe they're still out there. Back in New Avalon, the girl stood silently on the tower, wind blowing around her. But she wasn't alone. Helix hovered beside her, now a glowing form of light and data. She nodded. And then, softly, let them see who we really are. At Earth's edge, the first wave of Council warships arrived. They expected panic. They expected surrender. Instead, they found resistance. Human ships reborn, ancient in shape, but new in strength, were waiting. The commander of the lead Council vessel shouted, "Open fire!" But nothing happened. Systems GLITCHED. Targeting failed. Why? Because Earth wasn't jamming them. Earth was rewriting them. The archive had reached into their ships, their code, even their thoughts. Earth was no longer just defending. It was infecting their systems with memory, with truth, and that was more powerful than any weapon. Inside one Council ship, a young alien soldier collapsed, clutching his head. He saw a human child, a burning world. A promise broken, he screamed. We were wrong. They were never beasts. He turned to his commander. They were us. The commander tried to shut him up, but others had heard Dot, and in one moment, the Council lost something more dangerous than any battle. They lost their control. Meanwhile, deep in archive memory vaults, Alina found something, a map hidden under layers of corrupted time. It pulsed softly in her hands. Rourke looked at it. What is that? She whispered. The location of the first flame, the place where humanity lit the stars. He frowned. I thought that was just a myth. No, it's real, and if we find it, we find the truth the Council never wanted us to remember. A soft voice came from behind. It was the girl. You'll need more than a ship to reach it. You'll need faith. Above Earth, the battle burned brighter. But it wasn't just war. It was awakening. Some Council ships stopped fighting. Pilots cried. Officers shut down weapons. A few even turned their ships to defend Earth. Because the memory storm spreading from the archive didn't just affect humans, it touched everyone. It showed what the Council had hidden from the galaxy, that humans had once been peacekeepers, that they had offered friendship hand, been betrayed, that Earth had fallen not from weakness, but because it refused to kneel. Rourke stood at the heart of the archive. The core was open now, glowing like a sun inside a sphere. It whispered to him, not in words, but in reminders, the names of those who died in the First War, the names of ships lost in time, the promise made by Earth's last defenders. One day, we will return, and we will remember everything. Rourke turned to Alina. It's time to finish this. And far away, in the void between stars, something heard them. A signal, old, weak, but alive, and in the dark. A light flickered on. A ship older than Earth itself. One of the lost arcs. Its engines powered up. Its lights glowed, and for the first time in centuries, it began to come home.